Good afternoon, everyone. This is RAND, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Friday, March 14, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a reverse aging health call tonight, and all the rest after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. It's interesting that perhaps the most radical truth about this human existence is this: we humans are either existing in some form of suffering or living in some form of bliss. We are either in one or the other. We are either living up in our heads or we are in the heart of God. Once we quiet the mind and open our heart together, we live a balanced life in both realms of head and heart. Doing this, we then start merging with the infinite mind of God. When we can remain in this balance 24 hours a day, we will master this lifetime. Then every thought we think manifests into forming our living reality. And by living in constant emotional connection with the divine, from our core, we become a living bliss-breathing manifestation machine, perpetually creating every beautiful idea we feel and focus upon. You want to make sure that you're in a comfortable position with no outside distractions, relaxing into your body, being as still as you possibly can be, focused on your breath rising and falling. There are not many things, I'm sure we will all agree, that are truly guaranteed in this life. Yet one thing that is 100% guaranteed is this: at some point, we are going to return to God. It will happen either when our body is still alive or when our body stops breathing. Eventually, we will feel intimately connected with God again. So do not worry about when or how. All roads lead back to God. The path ahead and the path behind you both lead back to God. God is unavoidable because our past and future are just mental concepts which only exist within this living present moment. The mind alone is always blind to the divine. It is only with a quiet, surrendered mind that we may access an open, receptive heart which can see God in everyone and everything. The mind just doesn't want to realize how ignorant it actually is. It doesn't want to see how powerless, unfulfilled, and trapped it is, as this would cause a huge embarrassment to the ego. When we spiritually wake up, and we will, the mind realizes its pretty petty search in the outer world to find everlasting satisfaction is spiritually fruitless. Only when the mind surrenders to God do we discover what absolute bliss feels like. Otherwise, the mind will continue to persist in its addictive habits of seeking fulfillment in the outer world. It will ignore seeing how true bliss is available here now, as it needs to continue its addictive search for years, decades, and lifetimes. The mind is always trying to get its desires met by people, food, substances, money, ideas, and is in the habit of constantly yearning for something. Yet, as we all know, once the mind gets what it wants, it's happy for a short while, then is back on the hamster wheel again, searching for fulfillment again. And the mind is deeply unaware that it can never, ever be truly satisfied. It's good to know that whatever happens in this life, there are no real mistakes. God is an infinitely positive, creative energy that this fierce force does not know what a mistake is. Every mistake that we perceive to be real or true is simply the mind forming another judgment. There is universal right or wrong book. There is only deeper shades of truth, in which each higher layer only reveals a lighter perspective on our enlightening mission. We are here to learn. So we're here, and we go in these bodies with amnesia. Our greatest achievement of life is to find that God source inside us 24 hours a day. This is the only thing which truly satisfies. Everything else falls vastly short. Feeling into your own personal, intimate connection with the divine is the most important thing you can do with your time each day. Everything else you do is going to be the ego seeking some form of gratification, which of course will not last. And I believe that we are aware that it's like beware of the ego, as it is easily caught in complaints, negativity, and creating problems that weren't there before. Our only job is to move beyond our ego, transcend our small self, step into the big self that we truly are. And when we finally surrender to God at the center of our soul, we will know without a doubt that we have just discovered the most amazing experience of coming home. And remember, all of us, each one of us, are God. So we are the collective consciousness of all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. It's connected with all species, all civilizations, and all life. It is a woven fabric, and we're part of that woven fabric. And we will discover that we at any point, we can step into that collective consciousness, tap into its vastness, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And we will have the knowledge of the masters. We will have the knowledge of all the saints, and all of it, at any time we choose. Isn't that amazing that we have this? It's kind of a block through our programming that we just don't believe that that's what we are. That we're not the body, that the God that we are is all-knowing, all-seeing, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And we will tap into that. You can see how it's a step-by-step process. There's no way to rush it. You see? A lot of us, some people believe that they can rush it, that they can cut corners and get there quicker. We've been trained to want things like lickety-split. Now. I want it now. And none of us are exempt from it, because we all experience it at one time, shape, form, or another. It isn't a negative. It's just part of what we're going to untrain ourselves. And one of the interesting thing about it is that we know this because we're talking about it. If you don't know something, why would you talk about it? You begin to embrace the knowing, which is also not a negative. And through the mind, the ego mind, we realize what its function is, what it's there for. And it's for us, we learn, right? We learn from it. And then we help it find peace. And then once it finds peace, it's done. It has no more directive. You can picture yourself without the ego mind, you would be in total bliss 24/7. You would know that everything came to you. It would be a knowing. It's a fact, not an ego mind, because the ego mind is no longer there. It's heart-mindedness. It's in deep gratitude that you have this knowing, that you've embraced it, that it all comes to you. What better way to trick us into making us believe that we have to chase everything? If we want this, we have to go after it, right? If we want this, we have to go after it. And we toil and suffer and scrape and grab and pull. And we do get things in this material physical life. But that's the real irony to it, because it's the truth of it. That's a small truth. The larger truth is that it's the opposite. It's tuning ourselves in to this high vibrational frequency that is within these bodies. And it's tuning into it so that we vibrate at this high vibrational frequency, which then attracts all of the abundance, prosperity, happiness, joy, bliss, which in true reality is within us, not out there. So like I've said before, you can decide for yourself whenever you choose just to be happy. We don't need something to make us happy. We know that's short-lived. We've all done it. But to be happy because we decide to be happy. Big difference. To experience bliss because we choose to experience bliss. And it's not short-lived, because as we practice it, it becomes more mainline for us. And we gain limiting beliefs. And we create invisible, like jail cell bars, right? Which is all the limiting, skeptical, doubtful, negative beliefs we carry each day. It's a long, compromising list of constrictive ideas that we tell ourselves who we are and what is impossible to achieve. And again, we give ourselves permission to totally be wild and absolutely free. What does that entail? Well, it starts with finding and releasing every limiting belief which we are clinging to. Makes us feel not so expansive and free. Kind of binds us. So we find those heavy negative thoughts, which we honestly feel are true and real about ourselves, yet also make us feel sick, stuck, heavy, and very unhappy. See, only you can do. No one else can. Nothing else can. You let them go because they are just ideas which no longer serve your greatest good. That may sound ridiculously simple. Yet when we reach down into the core of ourselves, we find that the truth is that we are the God source itself, making up all the rules as we go. And that really is all there is. And when we are ready to empower ourselves and manifest the most amazing life possible and beyond, we will discover this truth. And then life just naturally becomes easier, more magical, and amazing. Doesn't it make sense that we have all this? Right? It's not like you got to go out there and find it. It's all within us. And yet, at the same time, the majority of us are, in certain ways, struggling, striving, grappling, pulling, pushing and shoving, hurrying and rustling on a continual basis. When all along, we are the opposite of that. We have the power, as the gods that we are, to lay out anything we decide we want to have laid out so that we can experience it. This is why you'll know when you are ready to empower yourself and manifest the most amazing life, and you will discover this truth, and then life just naturally becomes easier, more magical, and amazing. Then we come to the realization, in order to stop being attached to all our limiting beliefs and heavy thoughts, we must deeply desire to be free. We must choose to feel into our suffering inside, and in order to let it go, there must be a visceral feeling in the body of the stuckness first, in order for the release to be real. Then, we must choose to continuously step back from it. See how every apparently good and bad belief we had about who we are fall into the pile of small limiting beliefs. We must choose to leave behind all beliefs to be free. Let go of all of our disappointments, hopes, and fears when we want to truly start living, because attachment to any belief will create some form of future suffering. It's something that we choose, all of us, right? Living a life as if everything could end tomorrow, and also be this eternal spiritual being who knows that nothing could ever destroy us. At the same time, see, this is our life. So, we have a choice. We either live it to the max or we don't. We just puddle along. We really don't know exactly how long we're going to be around in this very now moment. We don't know yet how long we're going to be around. This universe has given us a mouth to smile with, a body to enjoy. Don't waste a day that you are here on this beautiful planet. Go outside, live your life totally, fully, and truly. You picture someone, right? And they're kind of like in a hovel, comfort zone. And they've gotten so used to that comfort zone, they can't leave it. They'll all, it's like that rubbery glue, it snaps you back. And the longer you're in it, the more you succumb to it. Some of us will say, well, we can step outside of that, doing something different. Well, how do you do that when you're so habitualized in something like that? Well, you do little things. You shift this, you shift that. You don't do the same thing every day. You'd be amazed how that keeps you much fresher. You're focused on not doing the same sequence, the same frequency every day. You just don't do that. Because, see, attachment to any belief will create some form of future suffering. And living this life as if everything could end tomorrow and also be this eternal spiritual being at the same time, who knows that nothing could ever destroy us. This is our life. I invite you to feel what it's like to be totally freed from the good and the bad opinions of others. That affects us. We all have this worried about what other people think, say, or do about us. That's ego mind. Imagine how it might feel in your body to be completely, truly, and honestly free from everyone's thoughts, opinions, and judgments of you. Honestly, totally free. No matter what anyone says, could be your own dad or some stranger, does not reflect in any way who or what you are at all. Instead, you realize that the divine, infinite, spiritual being, who you truly are, is beyond all thought and concepts completely. This non-attachment to others' opinions of you is one of the most self-loving, natural, and honorable ways we can live each day. Non-attachment. This is the golden key that turns the lock to realizing at the core who and what we are is already a powerful, divine, and magnificent spiritual being. This spirit and soul, who we really are, in essence, is already always free, always has been, always will be. So you could say maybe, okay, so you'll take the risk, if you want to call it a risk, to get to know your basic spiritual nature. Feel the essence of your infinite spirit inside. This is something that cannot be contained, imprisoned, nor taken away by anything or anyone in this outer world. Realizing this is a real freedom. And this spiritually free feeling is our natural state of being. All exploration and expression from this place is the most loving act we can give to ourselves and others. The full expression of our real spiritual nature is the deepest gift we can give, as it is the greatest honoring of who we truly are. When was the last time you honored yourself? Through heart-mind. When was the last time you gave yourself a hug? When was the last time you said how deeply and grateful you are to have that body to experience this life? Now, many of us may think that becoming a wildly liberated human being is not the top priority on our to-do list this week. Yet, if it's not in there somewhere, you definitely aren't going to enjoy doing anything on that list of yours. Without wild freedom, your entire life becomes a chore, burden, a heavy job that must be accomplished just so that you can get your wants and needs met. And when you don't stop this nonsense and turn that golden key to unlocking spiritual freedom, you will miss out on the main core purpose of your life, which is to enjoy the short time you are here and alive. It is only by experiencing truth on your own freedom happens. Freedom is the fragrance of the experience of truth, Osho. So let go. First basic step to freedom is learning how to continuously let go of what others think of you 24 hours a day. This means releasing what you think your immediate friends, family, coworkers, and lovers think about you. And honestly, do you know exactly what goes on in their minds? When you drop what you think their opinions are of you, you can actually release whatever your opinions are about you. As long as you are attached to what anyone thinks about you, you'll never be able to be totally free from what your mind thinks, believes, and perceives about you. It's kind of a measuring tool. See? When that no longer affects or bothers you, you know that you're really free. And not fake it till you make it. The mind is like a judgeaholic. It's always judging, comparing, and labeling something or someone, then changing its mind again and again and again, judging again. It's a genius at creating all sorts of fanatical, exaggerated opinions, beliefs, and stories. And when we understand this truth, it's easy to totally let go of what others think of you, for their opinions will always change. This creates the space inside you to think outside the box and believe whatever you want to believe about you and what you are. This spaciousness is the very source of your greatest freedom. So step back from your thoughts, for they are all borrowed ideas from other people anyway. Remember that. Step back from your thoughts, for they're all borrowed ideas from other people anyway. And deep down, this life is more humorous and ironic than we realize. We are creating all of our suffering and joy all day long, every day. And guess what? We are all responsible. We are responsible for it all. The irony is that each day along this lifelong journey, at the very core of our being is a river of perpetual, loving, creative energy overflowing with deep, healing peace. And we don't have to go anywhere to find it. All we simply need to do is sit, become deeply relaxed in the body, and train the mind to not cling to any thought that arises. It may take some time to relax the body, be truly cling-free, and deeply find peace. Yet, doing so, you will experience your soul essence and spiritual nature. There is nothing more important that you should be doing with your life. Join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out.
Easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath rising and falling. Enlightenment comes like a bolt of lightning, yet can trickle throughout our entire lives like a slow, soothing stream. Investigate today how you casually react to people. Notice if you generally have a protective hardness, lightness, resistance, friendliness, energy. Watch what typical reaction you have with others and don't change it. Let it change into something else on its own. Be patient with it. Ask it questions that might unravel its past. Don't be attached to what comes about. Simply drop into it profoundly. Choose to be in your heart of your programming deeply and let the self-realization come out of it. This is the only thing that will stop the habits and is how you will evolve quickly in your consciousness. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and following morning. We will return here tonight, Friday, March 14th, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health call and all the rest. And Saturday, March 15, 2025, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging, our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest, high, deepest of the deepest, deepest, purest of the purest, purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening within you or outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.